Righty then, let's have a look at what happened last night. Manchester United progressing in the EFL Cup, winning 3-0 against Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. And I didn't watch the game live, hence why I didn't do a review. Also, wasn't feeling myself a little bit last night, so needed a little bit of a break. But that being said, let's look at the 5 things that we learned watching United against Palace, because that's what I've got up and done this morning, is gone and actually found the game and watched it so I can talk about it. First thing to talk about, I think, is Amrabat starting. Now, obviously, he starts off at left-back, where we saw him make a brief cameo at the weekend. And in the second half, when he brings Lindelof on and takes Mount off, we see him moved into midfield. And the first sort of thought, in my head at least, I think, was, I like it. He brought an energy and a tempo to the game that I think has really been missing. He brought a security, particularly like that brief time when he was sat alongside Casemiro. You're like, yeah, there's a fucking player here. And not only is there a player here, he's got an infectious kind of energy about him, which I think others were picking up on. Yes, it was a rotated Crystal Palace side, but it was also a rotated Manchester United side, and it was one that has been so bad this season. I think that was comfortably our best performance of the season. And admittedly, it's a low bar, but still, it stands. There was ball retention from him. There was ball progression from him. It was tenacious. There was energy. There was composure. I think that was about as nice as a cameo or a debut start, whatever you want to call it, as we've seen in a long time. Cult hero potential. Spotted it with Martinez in that first game. Calling it exact same thing here with Amrabat. I like it. There's a presence about him. 100% of his tackles, had 91 touches of the ball, 78 out of 81 passes. We just don't have people in the United squad that are doing that. So that was nice to see. 5 out of 6 long passes actually completed. 5 out of 6 duels won, and 1 shot. Don't know if we're calling that a shot, but he had a shot. So that was nice. So massive plus was Amrabat. And I think, the time he got on the pitch would be very useful for him. Let's hope that he gets another start come weekend, because I think that's where United are going to really start to turn the corner. And actually going a little bit back on that, the selection at the start, it was rotated. And it was rotated more than we hoped, actually. Oh, no, it was rotated like we hoped, but more than we thought. Ten Hag doesn't generally rotate, so it was real nice to see Martial getting a start and not putting too much pressure on Højlund. Rashford getting a rest, Bruno getting a rest. Those 3 are probably going to be all featuring come Saturday. So is that the first time ever, by the way, that Bruno's had a rest? I don't remember him being rotated ever. So I'm really pleased for Bruno that he gets a night off, and some of the others getting a night off there. But Pellistri, decent little performance. Garnacho, decent little performance. Martial, decent little performance. But the next one I want to talk about there, Mason Mount. So a very energetic display. I was, like I said, I wasn't watching the game live, but I was getting texts and group chats, and I had a text yesterday in the middle of it saying that's exactly what I want from Mount, and I'm like, fuck's sake, I don't even know what he's on about here. And then this morning when I've watched it back, I go, yeah, I agree. There was, it was everywhere, actually. He was literally everywhere in a United shirt. Him and Amrabat brought the same sort of thing, but almost at the opposite ends of the pitch to each other. I saw some brilliant switches of play from both of them, actually. But there was times that if you think about where Mount's performance was, he was popping up in the 10, which means ghosting into the box, arriving late in the D or around the penalty spot. We saw him on the right-hand side a couple of times. We also saw him picking the ball up deep. It was an interesting performance, but it was energetic. The sharpest he's looked, I think, by far in a United shirt. Full of industry, full of impetus, got an assist, probably should have had more. Didn't really show any signs of rust. Is it just a case of as soon as he got better players around him, we would start to see the true, real Mason Mount? It's good, man, because even though I think Amrabat, Casemiro, Bruno is probably going to be the go-to, he might find himself playing off the right. He might find himself increasingly deputising for Bruno. And that's competition for places, and that is a positive. And we haven't really had it. Right, lads, listen. One of the reasons that I keep a full beard at the moment is because back in the army days, I had to wet shave every single day. Every single day. And it gets old quickly. And it gets boring quickly. But you know what? Manscaped, if this was available back in the day, might have been happy days with it. And Manscaped, your trusted below-the-waist groomers, have come up with something that is revolutionary for above the neck game as well. They've gone above and beyond with a new Handyman electric face shaver designed to give you that smooth, chiseled look for a clean shave without the faff of the traditional wet shave. Pop over to manscaped.com, snatch yours. You're going to get 20% off plus free shipping by using the code Howson20. Listen, your mug is the first thing that people spot, right? So make sure it's something to see when you get the Handyman shaver. Take it from me, someone that cherishes their beard, this is a game changer. It can tackle up 3 days of growth like a pro. It's got the skin safe technology, so you're going to stay clear of all the nicks and cuts, giving you the confidence to really go for a close shave. It's a go anywhere thing, perfect for wet and dry use. It's not going to let you down on the road because it's compact. It's got a long lasting battery. And if you've got a mane like mine, they've also got the Beard Hedger Pro. That's a one-stop shop for beards, all your different needs. It's got a trimmer, it's got 20 different lengths, all on one guard. So say goodbye to clutter, say hello to easy grooming. Now listen, I've got a little challenge for you guys here. If 250 of you get this Handyman, screenshot me your order and tweet me with it, I will shave off this glorious beard of mine. That is my challenge to you lot. If 250 of you do it, I will go clean shaven, but I want to see those receipts from you as well. So hurry up, head to manscaped.com, use the code Howson20, get 20% off and free shipping, and let's see if the Handyman can tempt me back into the clean shaven club. 3, Casemiro. So through pre-season up until weekend, Casemiro has been poor, looks slow, looks overweight, and then you put someone alongside him with a bit of energy, like we saw with Mount, like we saw with Amrabat, and he looked like the Casemiro of old. I would argue he ran it. He looked far more comfortable with the energy around him. You're not asking him to be different. You're not asking him to play a game he's not comfortable with. You're just asking him to go and do what he's doing. He's our current top scorer. Got a goal and an assist last night. For a defensive midfielder, the guy's got 20 goals and assists since he arrived. That's fucking mad. I don't think he can play every week. I'm certain of that. But I think as Amrabat settles, you might find Menu giving Casemiro the night off, or at least giving him half an hour off. And that's where United need to get to, because if you can keep him fresh, United have got a serious footballer on our hands. Number 4, back-to-back clean sheets. Now, we weren't scoring goals at one end of the pitch, but we were also leaking a shitload of goals at the back. And I don't care who we've played in the last couple of games. I don't care if it's Burnley and Crystal Palace, and if it's Crystal Palace coming up on the horizon. I don't care, because the bottom line is it's back-to-back clean sheets when we've really, really struggled to do anything along those. So back-to-back clean sheets is needed. I thought Delo was good. I like the underlapping runs. I thought Maguire looked like he had a pretty solid game. He still had a couple of mistakes in him. Literally, as I was watching the game back, I had to stop training last night, because that's where I was training. I had to stop training last night to bollock one of my young centre-halves, one of the under-21 centre-halves, for playing a ball from left-side centre-half to the left-back. It's a ball you don't play, because it's the most pressed ball. Now, there was a time in the game, Maguire has played that, well, there was more than one time, second half. He's played a lazy ball like that to Lindelof, who's the left-back. United have ended up losing the ball and conceding a shot. Like, these are the mistakes that you have to eliminate. You can't, it's such an obviously pressed ball. If I'm not accepting it, it's not acceptable for a United player for doing it. Onana had a couple of decent saves, but outside of that, in possession stuff, I thought it was relatively solid. He had a couple of decent blocks. Didn't look the shaky, unconfident Maguire that we've seen of note. So, it's an improvement, but there's still levels and gears to go through. And he might find himself with more starts because there's just an absolute lack of options. A big step in the right direction all around there, I think. And then finally, selection headache. And this is a good thing. It's a very good thing. What you want as a football manager is your fringe players and your youngsters giving you a headache. Once everybody's fit, well, he's in form. I can't really, drop this kid. Look what he's doing. Competition for places is going to be rife. Do we know our strongest 11 yet? Do we know who our best midfield is? Who's going to start right wing? You've still got possibly Anthony, but Malacia, Shaw, Mainu, Martinez. All of these lot need to return. It's been a very fragmented start to the season. I still think we went too hard on pre-season. We signed 2 players who couldn't immediately start for us, so they were always going to take a bit of a moment to spool up. You had an issue with Mount very quickly in his United career. Hopefully he's over that now. So as soon as these players start coming back to fitness, we're going to start looking like a team capable of doing something. And even though it's, a few bad results at the start of the season, let's hope that we're not too far off the pace and we can actually start racking some points up now and see what happens. Because even though we're not going to win the league, you still have to finish inside the top 4. And I think we're still capable of finishing inside the top 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.